perfect place to feel the Magic X sliding on the neck. The way that this works, Porter, is that my wrist contact point doesn't move and my thumb isn't really moving, but everything else is just as sloppy as can be, okay? And I'm feeling this little Magic X slide up and down on the neck. I'm gonna try that. No pressure. Don't mess up, just kidding. Great, get right up there in fourth position. You can see where the Magic X would be. Great, so this is gonna stay, this is gonna stay, and I'll try that wave.
Can I just come and look? Is anybody?
Sure,
I
why
just
not?
want.
Okay, now I want you to try, Porter, bringing it all the way back to there when you do the wave, okay? That's right. Think about hitting, can you hit my knuckle with the back of your hand? Keep going, keep going. There we go. All the way back. Good. Now let's just get a little bit taller position to start. And think of the elbow being right under. Good. The Magic X would be about right there. So that's your kind of starting position. Now go ahead and knock my knuckle. There you go. Right. And keep that touching right in there. Good. Right. You make it even bigger and sloppier. Yep. Even bigger. Good. You can come all the way up here too. Slap, 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 slap. There you go. That's the idea. Right. So you can see what I'm looking for is just that sliding up and down. And I find too, if the elbow gets around too far and the thumb gets under too far, that encourages this to separate. And you know, there's nothing evil about that. I just think it's not as efficient as keeping it close that way.
So I'm curious then when he puts the finger down.
Right. Go ahead and put your second finger down. Nice. Good. You kind of feel that rubbing a little bit right there.
And then one.
And then one. Okay. Try one.
Okay, okay. And then four.
You're getting to all
He's
the
still
problems.
aware? Great.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you for being a good example.
Good job. Way to go. Good. Any other questions? You good so far? Let's just talk for a minute about the bow hand, and then I want to talk before we finish about intervals, because I'm pretty passionate about intervals in helping to orient us to playing a tune and having a concept of intonation. But very quickly, just as a point of review, this is all good stuff. Thumb supporting basically the weight of the bow, not because it's squeezing, just because it's the only thing that's under it, right? Middle finger, that's the second finger in violin, or third finger in piano, however you want to describe that. Right across from the thumb, that's our center point, okay? Third finger sort of next to it, this is our power triangle. This is where most of the weight is transferred in the most neutral position, the middle of the bow. First finger falls asleep, pinky finger touches right up on top. And we should have an angle where the fingers are mostly perpendicular to the stick, or quite square to the stick, okay? Common problem is this, right? And if you were to see this in your violin studios or something you're working with, what would you say is the problem here? What looks bad? Pinky, right. Say the pinky is not curved, so curve your pinky. Okay. Got it. Yeah, the pinky really isn't the problem. It's that the whole hand is leaned forward so far that there's only one thing for the pinky to do, and that's just to barely touch. So what we really need to do is open up the first finger. There we go. Let the pinky curve, and think about coming straight in a little bit. That's going to be our most neutral position. In the middle of the bow, that's where we can really explore that position. Right? If I'm coming up towards the frog, it's basically going to stay the same, although in the way that the weight feels, it can feel a little bit more through the pinky side than in the middle. Even lift off my first finger and be okay, if it's in balance. When I go back down to the tip though, then it changes a little bit. Because this is far away, the angle is going to lean a little bit more forward, and the weight is going to come a little bit more through the first finger. Although the first finger isn't grabbing more, it's just leaning in a little bit more firmly. making the transition as we go from tip to middle, square bow hold, frog, thinking about the pinky, middle, square, tip, first finger. A really nice exercise, by the way, is to have a student lift up his second finger at the frog, third finger at the tip, second finger, to feel how the weight shifts from different parts of your hand, going up and down. That was a lot of stuff in a nutshell. Any questions about that?
Yeah, do you get
Yes.
more students who have left-hand problems or right-hand problems?
Oh, I think if I were to pick, it's probably right-hand problems.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that just because they don't start out right, or they just build into that habit repeatedly, or?
I think it's an issue of self-awareness.
Oh.
Because when somebody's practicing, what are they thinking about most of the time? The
Pitch,
notes.
yeah.
That's right. They're looking at the music on the page, and that means fingers. Rather than thinking, okay, how is my sound? How is my tone? What is my right arm feeling and doing? It's a much more subtle part of their awareness of their body. So, yes. In general, although I've seen plenty of great left-hand problems. Yeah, good question.
So just to clarify, you're lifting
Yeah.
the second finger at the,
In the lower half of the bow, so it'd be like
so that,
from
so
middle
they're
to
feeling
front,
the weight transfer.
into
down to
into
there.
the back part of their hand.
Uh-huh,
Exactly.
okay.
And the only reason to do that is just to keep the first finger in context of the drop their bow. So here, and then from middle to tip, lifting the third finger to think about coming more towards that side. Great. Good. Okay. Straight bow, just one thought about straight bow. We talked already about one contributing factor, and that is the violin position. But this is something that we see very commonly, is the bow kind of sliding towards the fingerboard at the tip. And if everything's good with this position, and if the hold is great, then it really is just a matter of training that right arm to know how to track that bow in a straight way and carefully. The principle involved there is that, you know, our shoulder joint, including our whole arm, which is to here, if we just swing it back and forth, it goes in a nice, beautiful curved line, right? It does not go straight. And that's really the main problem. So that we're not meant to have a straight bow, we're meant to have a crooked bow, because this is what we do.
Who
So we have
created
to-
the violin anyway?
I know. So we have this arc. See if I can describe this really quick. Here's our violinist, this instrument, okay. And with our stick figures, I love it. Okay, here's the right arm. Can you picture that? There's the strings. The arc that we create is an arc like this when we swing our arm naturally, okay? And if I do that on my violin, it's going to create the most beautifully crooked bow you can imagine this, right? So one approach is to try to fight that natural arc with another natural arc, but it's going to be opposite. What we're going to try to feel is an arc that goes like this. You see how they're sort of opposite, facing each other? So that when I'm at the frog, rather than starting over here, I'm going to start here. I'm going to pull this way, and then I'm going to arc around like this, so that the crescent that I'm tracking looks like a half moon shape this way. Can you sort of picture that? Rather than this way, which is the natural way my arm goes. So I pull to the right, the frog, and then I relax my joints, and then I push out in front at the tip. That's going to counteract that natural swing just enough to help keep it straight. Are you any of you familiar with Kado Havash? You know that name? Hungarian violinist and violist, who came up with a new approach to trying to make these very unnatural motions feel more natural. And her approach was very similar. She would practice a sort of swing across this way and then a swing out in front this way, almost like a square, if you can picture that. In fact, try that with me for a second. So kind of put your hand like on your left shoulder, swing straight across to your right shoulder, and I'll push straight out in front. Like you're gonna punch somebody, yeah. And come back, across, right. Kind of doing a square. The idea of a crescent shape is just to combine those things in one big motion. Right. Yeah. Good. And then there are other things we can talk about there as well. Any other questions about straight bow? Okay. Let's talk about intervals in our last few minutes. We're going till 10, right? Is that right? Okay. Tone and intonation.
You can go all day.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, keep going. We're not done yet.
We got food. We can, tone and intonation are so closely connected that it's almost hard to talk about them separately, because if something's in tune but it doesn't speak well, it's not going to sound in tune. You know, if your finger's in the right place but the bow contact isn't good, it doesn't sound in tune. Or if it's out of tune and we have really good tone, it's not going to ring, and the tone actually won't happen as well. So they have to work together. And with tone quality, it's getting that real ring, that sort of pizzicato tone that we get when we plug, where it's very natural and heavy. With intonation though, I've been working with my college students a lot on this semester too. For me, it's two skills that we have to work on, and sometimes we forget that it's two skills. Number one is training our ear. We can't play in tune unless we know what in tune sounds like, right? So how do we do that? Well, overall ear development really comes down to doing a lot of listening. Listening to good music, listening to good recordings, listening to good performers, so that we start to build a sort of tonal vocabulary in our ears where we know, oh yeah, that is in tune. And then we hear something else, no, that is not in tune. Or if I play on my own instrument, no, that isn't what's in my ear when it comes to what in tune sounds like. So lots of listening, I really advocate for long-term skill development. Then, when we're practicing, we also have to have some sort of point of reference. We can't know if we're doing something wrong unless we know what right is. So, using very simple points of reference while practicing can help for this ear training. Open strings. Check as many fingers and notes with open strings as we can, and starting with octave relationships is good, or unison relationships. Fourth fingers. Try to find that sound. Or eventually we can do perfect fourth intervals, or even listening for thirds and those imperfect intervals, which take a little bit more ear training practice. Using a drone in practicing. This is something that can play a note that you can match to, like a tuner, or they actually make drone CDs where they've recorded string instruments playing just solid notes. You just pick the track that says E flat and play your E flat major scale and see if it matches the drone. And I have my college students do this all the time. And then just simply using a tuner. We have to be a little bit careful about this sometimes, because when we're tuning things melodically, in a scale, for example, our leading tone needs to be a little bit higher than what the tuner would tell us. Because a tuner, I'm talking about when you play a note and it tells you how close you are, like on a dial like this. It will tell you what's in tune according to equal temperament, like on a piano. But on a violin or a viola, we can tune those even more perfectly in a way that rings and matches the key. So if I'm playing the key of D, we want that C sharp to feel like it's really leading to the D, and it's going to be a little on the high side when it's matching really in tune. So we have to also think about function. But using a tuner is going to show us really pretty well if we're in the ballpark where we need to be. when I practice with the tuner, I'm always surprised what I think is in tune is not really exactly there. So.
Are tuners that they can, excuse me, get on apps, are they pretty accurate or no?
It depends. It depends, and it kind of depends on how sensitive the microphone is.
How would has anybody come across?
I'll show you the one that I like. Well, there's two that I
One that I like. Yeah.
One is called INS tuner, as an instrument tuner.
Oh, INS?
INS tuner. And the only limitation here is it doesn't show you a dial. It just gives you a green light if it's in tune, or it shows you if it's on the low side or on the high side. So it's kind of like a yes or no. But for example, if I'm, do you want to hold that up?
So how in practicality would you do that with a student? Just have them do a slow scale with
Slow
it?
scale, watching every note. It's green. Now if I did that a little sharp, what does it say? It says tune down. Okay, so that one's pretty good. There's another one, maybe if anybody wants to chime in, called Tuner. How's that? I just have the free version, but it's a little bit more like a traditional orchestral tuner, where the whole thing will kind of shift back and forth to show you how close you are.
I'm sorry, that was called what?
Tuner.
Just tuner, okay.
Anybody have any others that they've used? Yeah.
I have a metronome tuner recording app called Sound Corset, and I showed it to my music tech teacher, Sister Crawford, and she said it was pretty legit. So,
Cool.
Sound Corset.
With C?
C-O-R-S-E-T. Yep.
That's an interesting title.
Tying it up there.
Excellent. Okay. So once we have some sort of point of reference that can help with the ear training portion, the second skill of intonation is being able to do it consistently. And that involves how it feels. And this is where it comes to intervals. On the violin and viola, we only have a few intervals that we have to know how to play because we only have 4 fingers. It's a blessing in some ways because it simplifies what we have to do. If you play piano, you've got 10 fingers to worry about. If you play organ, you've got 10 fingers and a heel and a toe on each foot. And it becomes really complicated. So that's the beauty. We have a half step, which we know what that feels like. This is the most important interval in our playing because we can touch it, we can feel it. A whole step, we're pretty good at that one. Something that's fairly familiar to us. What will be the next interval? It would be like a step and a half, minor third, right? The next one would be 2 whole steps. That's a major third. And if we add one more half step on it, the outside interval there is a perfect fourth. If we make them all whole steps together, the outside interval is an augmented fourth, yeah, or a tritone. Feels like an augmented fourth, feels a little bigger than a fourth. That's all we have to know, are those 6 intervals. Isn't that fantastic? Half step, whole step, minor third, major third, perfect fourth, augmented fourth. And then we can explore all of the inside intervals between fingers inside those bigger ones. But because we can play on different strings, with those 6 intervals that we feel, we can create all the rest of our intervals on our instrument. So I want us to try a little experiment here. Here's our first interval, minor second. We're just starting on the D string between 1 and 2. That's a half step. But if we were to do that same feel of a half step and split the 2 fingers on 2 different strings, then we get other intervals that we can play. What is that interval right there? I feel like I'm in my music theory class. Yeah. This is a minor 6. Now we don't play a minor 6 between our fingers, thank goodness. It would be very painful. We do it actually when we play tense. But it feels like a half step when our low finger is on the low string and the high finger is on the high string. So a minor 6 feels like a half step. It's always a rule. Always. Isn't that great? Whenever we play a major chord with that major third inverted into a minor 6, it makes a beautiful sound and it feels like a half step always. Okay? What if we switched them? What if the low finger was on the high string